25 years old. The International Food and Agribusiness program focuses on how to sustainably produce, process, distribute and trade food products to feed the entire world population. We have to change something. The way we're working now it's unsustainable, but step by step we're going into the right direction, and our study program also contributes to that.
My name is Ana Maria Dulzma Cortez. I come from Costa Rica. I always really liked agriculture in general, but I also really like the business part. So IFA, I think, puts those two together. IFA is a 4-year course. The first year you take more general classes, for example global food systems, and you also take classes of the 3 domains, the food domain, crop production and animal production. On your second year you choose which domain you want to focus on. We do a lot of excursions, so we actually go to farms and we do assignments with farms, for example.
We did projects at Bavaria, we went to the port of Rotterdam, a lot of growers, distribution centers, and we do practical assignments at the technology lab. So yeah, you really link theory to practice.
One of the other systems that we learn about is agroforestry. It's one of the solutions to the current agricultural products because it really involves like sustainability and like circular and no waste streams, and like really takes care of the soil.
We went to Kyrgyzstan in the second year, and it was very interesting because we looked at local entrepreneurs there about what their vision on agriculture and food production is. It's a lot of fun to really get to know each other and to get to know different cultures and backgrounds.
The third year you choose what you want to do. So you can choose between doing 2 internships and a minor, or an extended minor and 1 internship. The first part of my third year I did an exchange in Vietnam. So I went to the National University of Agriculture in Hanoi, and there I took courses of agricultural economics.
I did my internship at one of the largest seafood and agriculture importers and distributors in Europe. And I did my internship on supply chain mapping. And it was fun to see because I came in not really knowing what I had to do. But if you start talking to people, they use a certain language that you already know. Even though you're not really aware of it, you are sort of like an expert already.
And then on your 4th year, you do a minor, future food systems. And the second part of the 4th year, you do your professional assignment and you have to work with a company. I think as an international student, when you first year arrive in Den Bosch, everything is very exciting and also very scary because you don't know how anything works. But because there's so many other international students, we keep each other company. We're always doing like activities outside of school, like making dinners together. We also go out together.
It's a relatively small school. The distance between, for example, lecturers and students is very small. You can just walk into an office, have a discussion with your lecturer about something. If you have any problems, you can always ask them, email them, contact them.
I think I want to do a master's first, and after my master's I will go back to Costa Rica and maybe work a little bit more in the institutions part, so maybe like a semi-private company that works in partnerships for rural development and producers.
I really like the processes, the value chains. Yeah, how can we make the future more sustainable for everybody?
If you've never left home, it will be hard at the beginning, but it will be totally worth it.
Joining me are lecturer Barbara van Mossevelde and student Rosie Sayed. Could you please introduce yourself, Barbara?
Yes, of course. I'm with the Haas now for 5 years, and I mainly teach in modules that cover food processing and nutrition security. And I also guide students during projects and during internships. And before I joined the Haas, I worked for many years with international food ingredient companies in Europe and in the US as well as in Brazil.
So you bring a lot of experience from the field to your classroom?
Yes, I do.
Rosie, welcome as well.
Yeah.
Could you please tell a bit about your background?
I'm Rosie Sayed. I'm a 4th year student at the International Food and Agribusiness, originally from Pakistan. I came here because I was passionate about, the study program in International Food and Agribusiness and the fields of food, agriculture, and business. Therefore, the study program made perfect sense. Secondly, at the Haas University, we put theory into practice, and that's why it made better sense to come here. Lastly, I would like to say that in Pakistan and in various developing nations, there's a lot of focus on the secondary and the tertiary sector, and there's no or less focus on the primary sector. That's why it was my vision to go back and work in the primary sector of industry. Yeah.
Thank you, Rosie. Maybe starting, Barbara, can you tell us a bit more what the program is about?
Okay, well, IFA, as we abbreviate International Food and Agribusiness, so we'll talk about IFA. We cover, or the program is on our global agri-food system and the challenges that we're dealing with. So we cover supply chain, international business, doing international business in a sustainable way, so with respect for people, planet and profit. And we look at how we can make those international supply chains, how we can improve them, and how we can produce food in a better way and in a more sustainable way, so also in the future we can supply people with good and healthy and safe food.
And I take it you see that back in the curriculum? Can you tell a bit more about that?
If you look at our program, which is, as was explained earlier, it's 4 years. Year 1 is really an orientation year, and we have modules like global food systems, bio-based economy, and agri-food business. The students will also learn about a little bit technical basic knowledge on crop production, animal production, and food processing and nutrition, and they will go on an orientation internship. And the main, or one of the teaching methods we use is problem-based learning.
Problem-based learning. Rosie, how did you experience the problem-based learning methodology?
It was very interactive. I loved working with fellow students. And plus, I did an internship with animal production, and plus before doing that, I got the experience to work on cases which were related to dairy farming or goat farming, and furthermore, yeah.
Thank you. And that's in the first year?
Yeah, that's first year, and then in the second year, students get the opportunity to deepen their knowledge. So we have many business courses on food governance, circular economy, and students get to pick their elective, and that's either crop production systems, animal production systems, or food processing and nutrition, so more the secondary production. And I think you choose...
I chose the crop domain.
Crop domain.
Yeah, yeah.
And what was the reason?
Well, I love plants. Yeah. I love to be around plants, and I aspire to be a farmer. So I want to go home one day and probably work with smallholder farmers and learn from them as well. So I want to create a win-win situation. Share my experiences of the house and then gain their experiences of what they're doing in real time. Yeah.
And maybe interesting to say as well that in year 2 we work a lot with projects. So we do project-based learning. So that means that there are a lot of real-life projects where clients are already involved. And one of the highlights is probably our international excursion in our international study trip in year 2.
Well, maybe we've got a few more students here in the audience today from the program, so maybe to take a load of viewers, Vincent, you were joining the trip as well.
Exactly.
What was your experience? Where did you go?
We went to Kyrgyzstan. It was an amazing experience because it's basically a country like I didn't know before. I never heard of Kyrgyzstan, and I would probably never go there. And on my own, so we went there, and it was just amazing to experience a new culture and see how they do agriculture in Kyrgyzstan. For example, this amazing walnut forest we visited was something I've never seen before.
So also there you really interacted with the industry and the business partners?
Exactly.
Good to hear. Thank you, Vincent. So that's year 2, Barbara?
That's year 2. Well, in year 3 they continue strengthening their profile, and they do that by going on an international internship and follow a minor abroad, or here in the Haas or some other university here in the Netherlands. So that's really about, well, putting into practice what they've learned so far. And then they go on to year 4, where they have their specialization, future food systems, and they have a professional assignment, so that's their graduation assignment.
Their final thing.
Yeah.
And you're almost there, Rosie, is it?
Yeah.
What do you do in your future foods project at the moment?
Well, we look at transition and change management. Plus, we want to be leaders of the future. So we follow leadership classes. We follow classes of our domain, so the crop domain, and we strengthen our knowledge of the crop domain as well. Furthermore, we get a lot of guest lectures, and we do college tours. So we meet inspiring people, we talk with them, and we get inspired. Yes.
And you also work on a project probably during that period.
Yes. Yeah, I'm currently working with 5 other students on Moye coffee. So that is the first blockchain coffee of the world. So it's very technically advanced, and we're trying to make the supply chain more transparent and traceable at the same time.
That sounds like an interesting assignment.
Yes, definitely it is.
Good to hear. Are you involved in that module as well, Barbara?
Yes, I am, because also the domains are in there. So I do the domain workshops on food. And also they have an individual research project where they can research a topic to their choice. And this year the theme is on CO2 reduction.
Interesting. So you really get to pick your own topic there.
Yeah.
Nice. Good to hear. Hey, Razi, maybe over to you. Barbara talked about internships. What did you do for an internship?
I went to Nepal. Well, I was working for a Dutch organization called Agribusiness. And basically what they do is that they want to promote cooperatives and capacity building of cooperatives. So I went to the southeastern part of Nepal, a small village called Prithvinagar. So I got the opportunity and the experience of living with smallholder farmers, with the management, and the members of the cooperative. So we, at the end, became a family. And then basically what I was doing was that I was promoting tea of the cooperative. So we also traveled across Nepal and tried to sell the tea. Furthermore, we tried to improve the quality of the tea. So followed a lot of new protocols and worked together with also smallholder farmers for them to produce quality tea leaves.
So not only you learned, but you also managed to teach other people.
Exactly.
That's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Looking at the broader curriculum of IFA, what are some modules that really you thought were interesting or brought you something?
I think all the modules were very interesting. But to put it into perspective, I think one of them I really liked was animal production systems in the first year of International Food and Agribusiness. And I liked it most because, well, we learned a lot about animal life cycles. And then I got to apply that knowledge or learn more knowledge in the orientation traineeships. So I did 2 traineeships at dairy farms, one in the Netherlands and one in Pakistan. So the Dutch dairy farm had 100 cows, while the Pakistani one had 3,000 cows. Whoa. So that was a big of a difference, but a great learning experience.
Well, thank you, Razi. I think also looking at the time, we'll switch back to Johanna, who's currently in our greenhouse.
Thank you, Manix. Now we're here in the greenhouse. The greenhouse is 1,500 square meters big and has different sections. For example, we do hydroponics and ebb and flow systems. Behind the greenhouse, there's a husk garden where we cultivate different crops. And all English to our programs also have projects here in the greenhouse. For example, over here, we have our tomatoes growing and also other vegetables like cucumbers and paprikas, which can be purchased by students in the husk. And now we're going to meet Daniel and Kanish from the Horticulture and Business Management program, who are going to explain us a little bit about their project. Hi guys.
Hello.
You would like to tell us a little bit about your project you're working on right now?
Yeah, we are second-year students from Horticulture and Business Management. And throughout the first term, we planned a cultivation project for hibiscus. And this is the very beginning. We're going to use the whole table. We wrote a crop protection plan, irrigation and fertilization. And we start with different soil mixes, about which Kanish will tell you more now.
So we're going to do 2 researches in our project. One of it is the effect of different substrate mixes on the rooting of hibiscus, and the other is the influence of different biostimulants on the rooting and also on the influence on the finished plants. So after they have been rooted, we transplant them into bigger pots and we continue the application of biostimulants and see the effect. We also take regular measurements weekly so that we get as accurate results as possible.
Okay, thank you very much. And now I hope to see you all here at HAS and back to Manix. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Johanna. I'll see you in class on Wednesday. Back to the table. Barbara, what are the career opportunities for our graduates?
Okay, well, if you see our graduates, they end up both at businesses and with organizations. So from the last year, a couple of them, they went working as a junior trader. So they ended up in the supply chain of organic ingredients and coffee and cacao as well. So as a trader, they will look at new opportunities for sourcing ingredients in a more sustainable way, but also the more commercial end of it. We have also students that are now working as business consultants, for instance with non-profit organizations where one of our graduates is now advising small and medium size enterprises on how to improve their business. So that he's working in Africa on how to improve business and how to attach to international supply chain. So that's the business consultant end. We have students working as project officer or project manager within companies and within organizations as well, and mainly on projects that involve sustainability or so how to do it more in a more sustainable way, and that can be either people or that can be on planet related issues. Or more commercial positions like in sales or business developer, where you look for new business opportunities, and that can be either with the feed companies, for instance, but also food.
So that's very broad then.
That's quite broad.
And then still we got a serious amount of studies onwards. Rosie, you're planning to go for a master's as well, is it?
Yeah, I plan to go to Wageningen for the master program Organic Agriculture, basically because, well, I'm in love with crops and the soil. So to promote sustainability and looking at the core 3 pillars of sustainability: people, planet, and profit, and improving soil biodiversity. So really focusing on what IFA taught me and moving forward with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's about 25% of our graduates that go and pursue a master. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, thank you for sharing that information. As you know, being online, we got our chat panel right behind us, and the questions are coming in. Maybe some questions for you as well. So if you have any questions, please send them through our YouTube channel, or indeed on WhatsApp on +31 88 890 3600. And we got a panel here right behind me, ready to answer your questions. Hi guys.
Hello, my name is Sharan. I'm from India and I study horticulture and business management. And my colleague.
Hi, I'm Marisa Hasselman, and I'm working in international student recruitment at Haas University.
So we've got a few questions coming over. One of them was, what is the split between the Dutch and foreign students?
Rosie, what's the split between Dutch and foreign students in your group at the moment?
Well,
roughly?
Right now, in 4th year, I think we're more international students than Dutch students. So I would say 30% Dutch students and 70% internationals.
But that's not the real average for the entire program, I think.
No, the average would be about 30 to 40% international students, and the rest would be then Dutch students. We of course have some students with a double nationality, so with a double background, so to say, Dutch plus international backgrounds. Yeah.
Thank you. I hope that answers your question. If not, please let the guys in the panel know, and we're happy to follow up on this one. Another one?
How many hours of personal study are you expected to do each week?
Well, you tell people how much to study, Barbara, so maybe you can answer that one.
What was the exact question? How much study?
How many study hours of personal study are you expected to do each week?
Well, it is a full-time study, so that would mean that you would spend about like 30 to 40 hours per week on studying, where contact hours would be roughly about 25%. So that means that it's actually time that you spend with teachers and in lectures or project groups. But of course you will work in project group without tutors as well. So there's where you spend the time on, and then on some private study. And you can do that either here in the Haas library. So we have study facilities to study at school. There's facilities for that, but of course you can also study at home if you prefer that.
And Rosie, you make up your own agreements with your fellow students for those hours that you need to do research and study together?
Definitely. We have a time schedule and we keep up to the time schedule. And definitely it's time well spent. So.
Thank you. Something more?
Yeah. There's one more question. How much contact is there with the lecturers?
Well, I think you already
Yeah, I
indicated that.
answered that a little bit already. You will see that in year one, the contact hours are slightly higher, and towards the end of the studies, you will work more independently and you will work more with peers, so with your fellow students in project groups. So you will see it around roughly about 25%, but that might be somewhat higher in the beginning and somewhat lower in the towards the end of the study. And of course, when you're on an internship, the contact hours with school is, well, through Skype or phone, but of course your guidance will be in the company or the organization that you work with. Yeah.
And that's a company of your own choice, right?
It is, but we do assist students in finding a good place and a good position or an interesting company, but it's your own choice on what type of company or what type of organization you want to do your internship with. Yeah.
Thanks, Barbara. Anything else?
No, that's all.
No more questions for now? Well, should you have any questions, you know where to find us, so please do get in touch. For now, Barbara, Rosie, thank you very much for your time. We'll move on to the next program, which is the Business Management in Agriculture and Food. And we got a clip.